I have 4 kids. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, apparently my wife and I like sex more than consequences, and that's how that happens. And yeah, we'll talk about that. I have 3 teenagers and a 6-year-old. Whoops, there he is. There's the boy. It's like he snuck up on us. That's fun. And this 6-year-old, I'm still trying to figure this kid out. Most mornings when he wakes up, the first word he says is, anyway. What kind of psychopath expects everybody to know where the hell he left off the night before he fell asleep? And you know what? Half the time I think he expects us to know where he left off in the middle of his dream before he woke up. Because he doesn't make any sense. He'll spring out of bed and go find somebody and go, anyway. We better start boiling up all the shoelaces in the house because it's the only thing the dragon eats and he'll be here any minute. And we're like, what dragon? He goes, the one from the chocolate fountain. Is nobody paying attention? He's so pissed off at everybody all the time. I overheard him say to himself, oh man, I really wish I was a shark so I could eat humans, but I'm just a dumb old cat. I love him, but I think his brain's in upside down. He can be a good helper, though. I brought him shopping with me, and one time he pointed at something on the shelf. He goes, hey, Dad, what's this stuff? And I look, and I realize, oh, no, I've never bought chocolate pudding for my kid. Huge parenting fail. So I overcompensated, and I scooped everything off the shelf, just piled it into the cart, and we brought it home, and I was like, what do you think, buddy? We were testing it out. He goes, it's pretty good. Tastes like ice cream, but not as cold and without the headache. I was like, well, maybe you should stop eating ice cream so fast. You're not a dog, you're a cat, remember? So, he's not very bright. I left the room. I came back a minute later. I caught him whispering into his cup of chocolate pudding, I would like you so much better if you didn't look like poop. Oh, and then he wiped his mouth with a paper towel and looked at that and said, my mom says I'm not supposed to flush you down the toilet. Sorry, bro. Where's this kid learn how to talk? Maybe we need to get him some real people friends. We brought him to the dentist. They had to pull a tooth, so they gassed him for like an hour, which I thought was an aggressive amount of time. But he's not our first kid, so we were like, whatever. We talked about it. We were like, well, we've got extras at home, so either way, it's going to work out just fine. And he did great. He made it, and we brought him home. And it turns out he's still pretty messed up from the gas for a while. And I didn't know this until he started talking to me. He goes, hey, Dad, looks like I'm wearing pants, but am I? I was like, what? And then we find him in the bathroom later. He's staring at himself in the mirror. He goes, do you think I have 3 eyes or 2 still? He's looking at his hands for way too long. I was like, okay, I've been here before. I know what's going on. I might need to go out in the garage and smoke a little just so I can come back and be on the same level as this kid, right? And then we find him in the living room, and he's just staring at a pile of blocks. He goes, oh, you guys want to watch Legos with me? I was like, you mean play Legos with you, buddy? He goes, nah, just watch him. It's like I have a little 6-year-old stoner at my house. I don't know what to do with this kid. He hasn't asked for snacks yet, but he'll figure it out. Oh, when he does, I've got a whole fridge full of chocolate pudding. It's going to be the best day of his life. He doesn't like to share. That's the only problem I have with this kid. He's not good at sharing. He was watching TV with his own personal bowl of popcorn, and his big sister sat down next to him and grabbed some of the popcorn. He didn't like it, but instead of swatting at her, yelling like a normal 6-year-old, he just leans in and he goes, I'm going to put crumbs in your bed while you're sleeping. That's diabolical. This kid's figured out the worst thing ever, and he's threatening people in the house with it. I'm afraid to go home. I might just live here now. I think I'm going to stay here forever. His big sister's funny, too. She said to me the other day, Dad, you know, it's super sad that a giraffe's coffee is probably cold by the time it gets to the bottom of its super long throat. I was like, oh, sweetheart. You know, it's actually super sad. And then I showed her a picture of a trophy hunter next to a dead giraffe. Sometimes you just got to teach your kids real life lessons. I'm like, oh, your fake fancy latte sipping giraffe seems like it's having a pretty good life now in comparison, don't you think? Stop worrying about it. Stop worrying about it. I live with strange people, man, all of them, even the adults. One night I came home and my wife, instead of using the word leftover, said, if you're hungry, there are a couple of used hot dogs in the fridge. I threw those away immediately. I didn't ask any questions either, because not interested in backstory on that one. Isn't that a weird thing to hear from somebody? Although it's not as crazy as once a good friend of mine's ex-wife told me that she can actually hear dog whistles. I was like, what a bitch. That's also a true story. She's not a very nice person. Speaking of not nice people, I once went on a camping trip with who I thought were my friends. And the first night we were there, I drank way too much, as I do, and I passed out. When I woke up the next morning, I realized these pranksters had taken a Sharpie and drawn a bunch of foreheads on my penis. Now, that's not a joke for everybody. Sometimes that's a bit of a room divider. I think we felt that there. It's okay, though.